Hello, lovely people. How are we doing? Oh, it's so lovely to see you all. How are you? Are you having a good day? You're all muted, do you know? You're all very quiet.
Hello.
Hi, Natalie. How are you? Are you okay, lovely?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, good. Really good. Although I have to say, I'm pleased we're going to be doing some energy work because I'm freezing. Anyone else cold?
No, I'm quite warm actually.
I just thought, oh, my hands are freezing. So yeah.
My-
Louise, you're cold too. Tired, bit of pain. Oh, Louise, I really hope this helps, lovely. Um, Beverly, still retrograde. Remember, it comes with many gifts, lovely. Many gifts. Let me just make sure I'm letting everyone in. So take a moment to get settled, and I'll explain a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. So today we are going to be finding out a little bit more about Reiki. And what I would love to know is actually, and pop in the chat bar so I can see if you're completely new to Reiki or if you're already trained and attuned and to what level, because that will really help me understand where to pitch this at. Because I don't want to be telling you things you already know. But at the same time, I don't want to be saying things or doing things that's going to go over people's heads. So, yeah, just to give me an idea of where you're at, that'd be great. Hey, Tam, I know very little. Louise, I know nothing. I've had one treatment, but not trained. Fabulous. Okay. So the practice I'll be sharing with you today is something that you will see the benefits from whether you are trained in Reiki or not. So we will be experiencing energy together. What I will say is those of you that are trained and attuned to Reiki will have more heightened experience, I would say. But that's not to say you won't get fabulous benefits if you're not trained and attuned to Reiki. So please do not worry about that. And I hope to at least give you a bit more information. I don't know about you, but when I first heard about Reiki, it seemed like this really elusive thing that no one really talked much about and seemed very secretive. And yeah, so I hope to remove some of the mask of that to give you a bit more information about exactly what it is, what to expect, what the background is. For me, that was really important to understand where did this come from. Um, if you're like me, you like to get to the root of everything. So for me, it was really, really important to understand, how did Reiki come about? So we'll be touching on all of that. But what we will also be doing is helping you to start to experience energy if you haven't before. Then utilizing that energy for something fabulous. So whether that's taking a moment to relax and heal yourself, or whether you want to use that energy to support an intention you have, or to support something you want to manifest, then that's completely up to you. Okay. Just catching up with the comments, checking I'm not missing anything. Okay. So yeah, bit of a mixed bag. A few people trained, a few people attuned. But what I will do Natalie, lovely. I don't know if anyone else can just see Natalie on their screen. Is it just me? You can take over, lovely. What I will do is pin my screen, just because otherwise, bless you, Natalie, when it comes to the recording, everyone's going to think, that's amazing. She's leading this workshop and not even moving her mouth. So, so if you haven't met me before, I'm Holly. In terms of my background with Reiki, I came into Reiki. Wow, I really should have worked this out. Probably about 7 years ago. I tend to do it according to how old my son is, because I know that it was after the birth of my son that I really started going into my healing, because that's when I got really sick. And my experience, and when I talk to other people when it comes to Reiki, often Reiki finds us. It's not something that generally we seek out, probably because it is a bit elusive and seems a bit secretive. Maybe you did, maybe you have sought out Reiki, but for me, it was something I kind of stumbled across through doing, at the time I was practicing Zen Buddhist meditations, and we'd been doing some energy meditations. And through those energy meditations, I'd started to experience energy and started to figure out how to work with energy. And this was like a whole new world to me. I'd been fairly masculine, very kind of career driven, very logical. So for me, this was kind of quite mind blowing. And I was like, at one point, I thought I was going a bit crazy, if I'm honest. There was part of me that was like, is this real? Am I making it up? You know, all of those things were going through my head. And my Zen teacher also was a Reiki master. And I was talking to her about my experience, said, look, I've really enjoyed this energy side. And she said, well, we just need to train you in Reiki then. And that's kind of how my journey began. And then I trained, my Reiki teacher did 4 separate levels. So she did Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki master, and then Reiki teacher. So I'm trained in all 4 levels. And I took my training quite slowly. I spent at least a year with each level, because what I would say is, if you're interested in learning Reiki, it really is about depth. It really is about practice and connecting in with that and learning to embody it, rather than it just be something, you know, we can think of it as this just hands-on treatment. And there is that element which is beautiful and magical and fabulous, but it's so much more than that, so much more. So just to give you a bit of background, Reiki was discovered by Mikao Usui in Japan in 1922. And he was a Buddhist scholar, a lay monk, someone who had his family but still took his spiritual practice very seriously, very seriously. And through meditating, he discovered Reiki and the practice that we now call Reiki. And during his lifetime, he didn't live much longer after that. So he only trained 16 students, and those 16 students went out and trained other people. And those are the lineages that we talk about. When we talk about Reiki lineages, I don't know if anyone's heard that term before. And if I'm honest, there's different schools of thought when it comes to Reiki. There's the traditionalists that's firmly down the traditional path. However, it's hard to say how much of it was really original and how much has been added to. But my teachings are from the original Usui, although I do incorporate some elements that aren't. So, for example, the chakra system was not the chakra system that we're familiar with in the West, was not part of the original teachings. If we think that came from a Japanese culture, where actually they tend to work with 3 main energy points. Those in my membership will know these are the energy points we've been talking about in our Buddhism quarter. And I also incorporate some elements of working with crystals, as that's something that my teacher taught me, as well as a couple of other additions that weren't available in the original teachings. In terms of what Reiki gives us, we can, again, look at this from a couple of different schools of thought. We can look at this from, there's a school of thought that this was all around healing, but actually there's a separate school of thought that was around, this was around awakening, and the healing was a byproduct. It was something that came about. So as you can see, the history is quite, well, for me, I find the history quite interesting in itself. But today, I really want you to experience the heart of Reiki. So initially, we're going to be doing some work to allow you to at least feel energy. Like I say, those of you that are Reiki trained may have a different experience with this. For those of you that aren't, then you will still experience this, don't you worry. So, any questions before we dive into the actual meditation and practice together? We all good? Okay. Fabulous. So I invite you initially to get yourself comfy and be sat up. So sat up in a comfy position. And before we even begin, I invite you to bring your hands into what you might term as prayer pose. And just take a moment to consider this pose, first of all, this gesture that we're making with our hands. So the origins of this mudra was this idea of bringing together 2 parts to make a whole. So it's the masculine and the feminine, the parent and child, the teacher and student, and this acknowledgement that they're one and the same thing, that ultimately we're all just one thing, we're all just one energy. And take a moment to consider that this life force that runs through me, that runs through the trees, that runs through the oceans and the currents, it's the same energy force that runs through you. And I invite you to bow your head and just consider, what's your intention for this remainder of the workshop, for our meditation? What do you hope to gain from it? How do you hope to show up? How do you hope to be? And set a little intention for yourself. And in Reiki, we will often, before a healing or a treatment, ask that wherever the Reiki goes, or in this case, wherever the energy goes, allow it to be for the highest good or the good of all. So taking a moment to consider that for yourself, to include that in your intention. And when you're ready, coming back, opening your eyes. I always like that part of allow this to be for the good of all, because even on those days when you feel like you're not making much of an impact in the world, you can think, oh, at least my Reiki is. It takes the pressure off you to do too much. So I invite you to start rubbing your hands together. What we're doing is just creating a bit of friction, a bit of heat. Keep going. I'm just letting someone in. So just rubbing your hands together. As fast as you can now. Quite hard to talk while I'm doing this. Start to feel that heat generating in the palms of your hands. Go in if you can. When you feel that heat getting really quite warm, seeing if you can just bring your palms apart just a little bit. Closing your eyes and noticing the sensation in your hands. Maybe moving them in and out. And seeing if you can feel that energy that you've just generated through that friction. Taking a moment to just play with this energy within your palms, like a little ball. Bringing your hands gently in and out, just a little bit at a time, till you can see, not see, but feel that resistance. You may even want to see if you can make that a little bit bigger. When you bring your hands out a little bit more. And then bring them back just a tiny bit. Can you feel that resistance? And seeing how large you can make that ball now. Without losing it. If you do lose it, don't worry. Come back to rubbing your hands and feeling that energy again. Allow yourself to just feel that ball of energy. And play with it if you like. Perhaps move your hands around the sides of it. Like I say, if you lose it at any point, do not worry. You can rub your hands together. Or bring your hands a little bit closer together and you might feel it again. What we're going to do is close our hands together and bring your hands to either your hip bones or around the pelvis, or rest them on the top of the pubic bone. And just allow your hands to sit there for a moment. Noticing any sensations present in the body. Or any sensations from your hands. And if you don't feel anything or very little, that's fine. Just trust. Just become mindful of the experience of your hands on this part of your body. We're going to utilize this energy a little bit more, build it up a little bit more, especially for those of you that haven't been attuned to Reiki. For those of you that have, you may want to bring in your symbols at this point. Invite in Reiki. And for the rest of you, I invite you to imagine that that energy ball you've just been playing with in your hands has now moved into this lower part of the body. And we're going to direct it through the body using our intention and the breath. So imagining on the next in-breath that you're pulling that energy up through the central system of the body, through the solar plexus, up into the heart space, through the throat, the third eye, up to the crown. On your next in-breath. And then just holding it for a moment at the top of your breath. And as you feel that energy build to a point where you can't hold it anymore, releasing that breath. I'm going to do that a few more times. So breathing that energy up from the base, all the way up to the crown and holding. And as and when you're ready, releasing. And take a moment to do that a couple more times in your own time, at your own pace. Remembering to hold it at the top. Allowing it to release. And one more time. And allowing it to release. And taking a moment to allow your breath to return to normal. Noticing any sensations present in the body now. Taking a moment to do a little body scan, starting at the crown of the head, drawing that awareness down over the forehead, around the eyes, sides of the head, the cheeks and cheekbones, the jaw, and we're just noticing what's present in these areas of the body as we allow our awareness to glide over them. The back of the head, the back of the neck, the sides of the neck, the throat, the shoulders, the arms, the elbows and lower arms, the wrists and hands. Allowing your awareness to glide through your heart space and chest. Just paying attention to what's going on in these areas of the body. The upper back. The sides of the body. The middle of the body, where all the organs are held, or many of the organs are held. And the middle of the back. Paying attention now to the lower back. And coming round to the hips, the pelvis, our womb space. Just being aware of any sensations present in these areas of the body. You draw the awareness down into the thighs and the backs of the legs. Being aware of the knees, the lower legs, the shins, the calves. The ankles. And the feet and toes. And I invite you now to consider what you experienced in that body scan and where in your body you might appreciate a little bit of love, a little bit more attention. And bring your hands to that area. And how you choose to place your hands, be guided by you. Do what feels good. And being aware of that ball of energy you created in your hands, that moved into your palms, and allow that now to move into the area that needs it the most, with nothing but your power of intention. Not striving or trying too hard, just surrendering to the fact that it's working. You may even want to mindfully bring your breath into this area of the body. Imagine yourself breathing into this space. Being aware of any sensations you feel, any colors or images you see in your mind's eye, any words or songs that come to you. Allowing yourself to be open to anything that wants to come through, anything that needs to be seen. And if at any point you feel called to move your hands to a different space in the body, feel free to do that. And begin the process again of noticing the sensations, anything that wants to come through, being open to words, images. At any point you feel an emotion bubbling up, no, that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly normal. Don't need to hold it back. Allow it to move through. No need to suppress or get stuck in it. Just energy releasing. And as you continue to place your hands I'm going to share with you the 5 Reiki principles. And I invite you to consider these as you're laid there with your hands on the part of your body that needs it the most. What Usui taught us was that it's possible to live an awakened, fulfilled life. And some of the ways we can do that is by living in line with the Reiki principles. Now, Usui was very clever in how it's worded, because all of the principles start with this phrase, just for today. Because committing to a lifetime can feel like a huge undertaking. Whereas I think most of us can commit to something just for today. So consider if just for today, can you let go of anger? You may even want to visualize this version of you that walks around without anger generating within them, that doesn't feel the need to react, but instead can coolly respond. That part of you that's not attached to taking themselves so seriously. Who can let her frustrations go. Can you today, just for today, let go of anger? And considering the next principle now, just for today, can you let go of worry? Then you're not committing for a lifetime, just for today. And again, it might be helpful to visualize this version of you that doesn't get pulled into worry, that isn't living in the future, is able to live in the present. It has that inner peace inside, that ease, that flow, that calmness. You allow this version of you to come forward today. Can you just for today give thanks for your blessings? So connecting into that space of gratitude. Many of you have practiced gratitude meditations with me and will know that the phrase that I will often use that really sparks that feeling inside me is how lucky am I? And you just for today allow yourself to embody that feeling of how lucky am I? Doesn't matter what's going on in your life or the challenges you have. We're here on this earth. We have this day, as well as 1,001 other things to be grateful for. Can you just for today give thanks for your blessings? And can you just for today do your work honestly? Now, this can be interpreted in many different ways. For me, it's about showing up authentically in integrity, feeling like I'm helping where I can. That in some way, in some little way, I'm doing some good in the world today. And that may not be something massive. It may be just in a conversation I managed to be really present for. So I ask you to consider just for today, what would it mean for you to embody this, to do your work honestly? And can you just for today be kind to all living things? And that includes yourself. You're not committing to a lifetime, just for today. Can you be kind to all living things? And again, it might be helpful to visualize that version of you that does this effortlessly. That can be kind to those that trigger her. That can be kind to those insects that make her skin crawl. That can be kind even in those times when you feel the pressure upon you. That's effortlessly kind to herself. Can you just for today embody this version of you? And taking a moment now to consider any other intentions that you want to make for yourself personally. Maybe a behavior you want to let go of, or a mindset, a belief, a story that you've been telling yourself. And allow the remainder of the energy that you generated to be taken away into the universe with that intention. You don't have to worry about it anymore because it's in the universe's hands. You just have to trust that it's already done. And as and when you're ready, bringing your hands back into that prayer pose. Again, taking a moment to consider what this symbolizes, this fact that we are all one, we're all one energy, we're all a reflection of the universe. Even the people that frustrate us are just showing us something that's within us. And take a moment to give gratitude for yourself for showing up for this today. Allow that to fill your heart space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thanking the other ladies that have shared this experience with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And giving thanks to all the teachers that came before that allowed us to experience this today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as and when you're ready, maybe starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes, bringing some life back into the body. Before slowly opening your eyes, coming back into the room, back into this space. Love to hear anything that any of you want to share about your experience of that, whether anything came through for you. Anything you want to share with the group, no pressure at all. But if you do, if you experience something and want to get it out, please know that we're here to listen. Okay. So we have just over 10 minutes left. Oh, Louise, just feeling more peaceful, beautiful. I've noticed even my makeup smudged. I felt my eyes starting to water at one point. So thanks. I did see a few ladies shedding a couple of tears. Did you want to share, Claire? Was there something you wanted to share?
Oh yeah, can you hear me? I'm in my car. I don't know if you can hear. Yeah, I pulled some in. It was really weird actually. So when it started, I often get an image, and I got this image of this a face that I'd never seen before. Where it was like a bit like a skull, but it was a face, and I thought that was really weird. And then I just flicked onto my Facebook to message somebody I'm meeting at work, and there was this image, and it was there. And I often get something like that. It was exactly the same image. I thought that's weird. And then when it was happening, I pulled it in and sent it to a relation that's just been to hospital appointment today. So I said I'd send him some. So I channeled it towards him, and I just got a message from him, and I said, I hope you got it. And he said, I'm feeling really positive, you know, like he really got it. It went there. So it's like, yeah, it's really good. It's amazing.
Oh, I'm so pleased. Oh, that's beautiful. What a lovely use of it. I love that.
Yeah. I thought he needed it. He was having, you know, he was having some cancer treatment and yeah, so it made him feel really positive. So yeah, that's good.
Beautiful. Oh, I'm so pleased. Oh, fabulous. Oh, I'm just seeing everyone's comments coming through. Thank you for sharing, Claire. That was a gorgeous share as well. It's so lovely when we use that energy for something so good. Tam, that was really comforting. I focused on wanting to be me, more open and accepting, and I identified I definitely feel less heavy and weighed down. Fabulous. Oh, nice. I love that. Beverly felt sinus inflammation. I think that's inflammation, pain in leg, a lot of tension at first, then a lot of lights at the end, back of eyes, and to the front of eye. So peaceful. Oh, I am so pleased. Katie, you feel more fulfilled and emotional. Beautiful. It is funny, isn't it, when for a long time, I really resisted a lot of these heart opening practices because I don't know about the rest of you, but I was kind of told from a young age that to be emotional or to cry was a bad thing. It was like this. You didn't do it. And as I'm sure many of you experienced, but I grew up in the 80s where parenting styles was very different. You know, it was kind of, you know, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. So it took me a while to move past that block of actually allowing myself to be emotional, of allowing myself to have my heart open and cry and not see that as like this really bad thing. So I think it's so beautiful when we can really embrace that and just allow that energy to move through. Susan, beautiful session. You didn't know how much you needed this till today. My absolute pleasure, lovely. I am so glad it was what you needed. Oh, Louise, you're so welcome. Katie, I'm glowing with a golden ball of light. I love that. You'll all be walking out of here with like the most amazing auras. Beverly saying just for today with me felt so calm. And it's amazing, isn't it? It's often the just for today will be, it's often said it's like the sixth principle, it's like the sixth precept, because in itself, that is an amazing intention to just be mindful for today, just be present for today, just to have an intention just for today. It's powerful, right? Louise, I need to practice the energy ball more. I didn't feel the energy until I placed my hands on your pelvis. Then you felt slight vibration in your hands. You're in pain a lot today. Keep practicing it, lovely. It will, often we spend so much time in our heads that actually being really present in our bodies and feeling the nuances, especially if we're experiencing a lot of pain, which can be very loud, can't it? It can drown everything else out. Then sometimes it's that practicing of mindfulness. And I've often said, or I've shared that when I was in a lot of pain with my arthritis, when it was really, really bad, to develop my mindfulness, one of the things I used to do was actually meditate on my pain, just not in terms of trying to fix it or heal it, but just to be really aware of the sensation of what is pain. And I tell you what, that is transformative in itself. And so that might be something as well to practice with. Natalie, you had a message, speak from the heart. Oh, I'm so pleased. I really am. Okay, lovelies. Well, I'm just conscious we've got 5 minutes left. 1 minute, 2 seconds. Beverly, I don't know symbols yet. Need to learn more. I put my class on hold as I was exhausted and didn't feel right time weeks ago to have the class. Fair enough, lovely. If I was going to say, do you need to be in a good space to learn Reiki? I wouldn't say you need to be in a good space to learn Reiki, but I would say you need to be in a good space to give Reiki. Because often when we're not in a good space and we're trying to give Reiki, we're not really connected into Reiki and can just be sending people our own stuff. So that's not always a good plan. So yeah, something to be mindful of. But so yeah, we've got 5 minutes left. What I wanted to do is use these 5 minutes to open it up to you and ask for anyone that wants to ask any questions. Louise, you wanted to share, lovely?
Hey, can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Is it possible to do, like we just experienced, doing Reiki on ourselves? But like today, when I'm sleep deprived, I'm in a lot of pain. Is that the best time to work? And I know you was just saying about when you do Reiki on other people, that you should be, feeling okay and not carrying any sort of that pain or whatever you're going through at the time. But when you're working on yourself, like we just done today, obviously you work on yourself for a reason, meaning you want to feel less pain, you want to feel less heartache. It's like I realize that I put my hand on so many places. Like when you're saying about visualizing a place that hurts or a place that you feel that you need to work on. And I was laying here and I was thinking, where do I put it? Do I put it on my heart? Do I put it on my lower spine, which is killing me? Do I put it on my upper neck, which is killing me? And so then I realized there's like several places that I was mindful of how much pain I'm carrying. So emotional pain in my heart, but also physical pain. When you was doing the creating the ball of energy, that's the first time I've ever done that. And I was wary of, I'm not feeling a ball of energy. And is that something that comes in time, the more you practice it? Because obviously this is the first time I've ever done that.
Yeah, and you may want to experiment. So there was lots there. Let me break it down. So with the energy question, no, thanks for sharing, lovely. So what I would do is, keep practicing it. And you may want to rub your hands for a bit longer. Or you want to get to that point where you can really feel the heat generated. And just slowly move your hands away. And then what you will find, what you will find is that the more you feel into it, the more you will experience it.
What is it you're feeling? I know you were saying it's almost like a resistance. So almost as if there's a ball, like a tennis ball of energy that you could feel. And that's what I struggled with because I couldn't feel that. And I kept rubbing my hands like a maniac, trying to create that heat to then put my hands together. And as I said, it's my first time.
And to me, what it reminds me of is, that feeling when you've got two magnets that are pushing against each other.
That's what I was hoping to. So it can come with practice.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the more you develop that mindfulness of the subtle sensations, and like I say, you've got the challenge, lovely, of when you're in pain is so loud. And so we can miss the subtle. So I would one of the other practices that really helped me with pain is, so I would start with meditating on the pain, and then I would expand my awareness a little bit so there's the pain, and then expand it a bit more into my body until my whole awareness is on my whole body. And then what that allowed me to see was that pain was just just a little bit of everything that was going on. And that's a lovely freeing sensation, right, to think, because when we're in pain it can feel like it's everything, can't it?
You
It's
focus,
like,
it's all consuming, so there's no head space, there's no space in your head to think about anything else. It's like negative thinking, that negative thought pattern. If you've always thought that way, and if you've had so many traumas in your life that you thought that way, it's almost like having to reprogram the way your brain works.
completely.
And your body's probably the same.
Definitely. And like you say, with the thought patterns, and pain can be similar in a way that, and it sounds counter, intuitive, but it becomes addictive. It becomes like an addictive state of being when we're in that negative mindset.
Familiar. It's familiar, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And change is tough, even when it's good change. We want to go back to the comfort zone.
Yeah.
So it's that constant expanding ourselves a little bit at a time, expanding our awareness, becoming more aware of the subtle, and you'll experience more freedom.
Because I didn't feel the energy in my hand until I placed it on that pelvic area. Then all of a sudden I felt vibration. So it's really weird, because as soon as I placed it on that area, I felt very subtle vibration. But so maybe there was.
In which case, I wouldn't overthink it too much, Louise. You're obviously feeling it in some parts. Perhaps it's just in relation to your hands at the moment, and that might change. That might just have been today, this moment, and might be something very different tomorrow.
I love your idea of for today. For today, I'm going to stop worrying for today. I love that, because if you look at the big picture of your future, that's terrifying. But I love the fact of just for today, you can do that today. And that was really powerful. So thank you, Holly.
You are so welcome. So welcome. Tam, lovely. Did you want to share?
Yeah, I had a wonderful experience, and I'm happy to share in some group somewhere. So I won't talk about that necessarily now. What I did want to ask was, you spoke about the fact that you've done all 4 courses. I've obviously looked at your course. How much time between the courses would there be if you signed up for all, for example?
Yeah, and just to clarify as well, like I say, I trained over 4 levels. In my training, I've included master and master teacher training in together in 1 level. So just to clarify, in case that confuses people, because it confused me for a long time. Like, some courses, they incorporate the 2, some people don't, but I've chosen to incorporate the 2, because I think they're both, if I'm honest, I didn't see the benefit in creating 2 courses and then charging people twice. So it just didn't feel right. However, so sorry, Tam, back to your question, which was so easily distracted. So in terms of how long, so the courses that I'm running are completely self-led. And the reason I did that is because I think it depends on you as an individual, how you learn, how quickly you want to go, to what depth you want to go, at what rate you want to go. So there's no endpoint to when you have to finish it by. Like I say, for me, I wanted to take my time with it. I wanted to really get into the nuances, and that's not like me. I'm not a detailed person in any stretch of the imagination, as many of you know. But with Reiki, I realized that it was about depth. And the more time I spent with it, the more insights I had, and the more, not just on like a physical level, and I say that like it's not a huge thing, the physical thing is brilliant, of course. But for me, Reiki gave me a lot more than just physical relief. It gave me, I think I've shared this before, but for me, one of the things Reiki really gave me was self-compassion. And I'm saying that and starting to tear up as I talk about it, because up until that point, I realized I'd been so mean to myself. And up until that point, I don't think I'd realized, but when I started practicing Reiki and started doing self-Reiki, I just realized just how mean and cruel I was to myself internally. And it makes me want to cry and thinking about it now, because I feel not bad that I did that, but I feel so sad that I spent so much time, wasted so much time being really mean to myself. And oh my God. And it was Reiki that gave me the freedom from that to actually decide I'm not doing that anymore. And all of us are worth far more than that. And it's one of the reasons that I became so passionate about sharing everything that I share, because I realized so many of us walk around in our heads just being so mean to ourselves. And we don't need to be. Life's hard enough. And actually we get to be kind to ourselves. We get to be kind to each other. So just for today, I would invite you to be kinder to yourself and everyone you interact with. And I didn't expect to bawl my eyes out on this today. Obviously the Reiki has got everything flowing.
Thank you for sharing, Holly. I get so much from you, and I have since we've been working together, and I'm just thank you for being vulnerable and kind of reminding us that, you know, kindness comes in many forms, but that it should start with us. And I definitely needed that reminder today and every other day. So thank you.
You are very welcome. So, any more questions? Or can I go sort my makeup out? No, you're so welcome, lovely. We're all human, right? You know, we all have our stuff. And you don't go into this work. You don't go into this work unless you've had a lot to sort through, yeah? So, what I will say is I will send out a copy of the recording so you can watch back the meditation. You're welcome to see me cry as many times you like. And I will also include a few more details about my training. So if you do want to learn more, you can find out. What I will say is the training has a special offer on this month. And I'm really conscious we've only got like 2 days left in this month? Is it me, or where's September gone? That is crazy. So yeah, if you've got any questions, reach out. Otherwise, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing this with me.
Thank you, Holly.
I love reading all your comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your time with us all.
You're so welcome. So welcome. Okay. So I will love you and leave you. Go have a gorgeous rest of your day.
Thank you.
See if you can embody the precepts just for today. And if you can do it just for today, who knows, you might be able to do it tomorrow as well. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay. Take care.
Thank you,
you.
Holly. Love you lot.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Love you all. Bye.
Bye.